Fairy tales come true. It can happen to you if you're young at heart. For it's hard, you will find, to be narrow of mind if you're young at heart. That's the first time anybody's ever asked me to sing, and I think it'll probably be the last time. But for Wendel, for you, I would do it. And you are young at heart, and these words apply to you.
Yeah. Who you're taking pictures? Hello. We're working.
He always talks about that. Every so often I would say, couldn't the buildings and the grounds be a little spruced up? And usually, he just, One day I said it and he said, this isn't a bank or a lawyer's office. This is a construction company. So I never said anything about it again, because to Mr. Kent, what you produced from the inside was much more important than the outside trappings. And I always thought that was really something special. And that's the way he's been. I've been with him over 28 years, and he's never changed.
And if you should survive to 105, look at all you'll derive out of being alive, then here is the best part. You have a head start if you are among the very young at heart. Every community should be lucky enough to have a Wendel Kent in their midst. In fact, I remember a conversation I had with one of the Cohn brothers. Last year, I was at a cocktail party and I was sitting across from one of the Cohn brothers, and Wendel Kent's name came up again, and I told him that I knew Wendel, and he said, well, Wendel was great and highly respected in the paving circles, but he said one thing about Wendel. He said, I could never understand how Wendel got in the paving business. He was just too nice of a guy. But I will say about Wendel, there's nobody that has contributed more to the community than Wendel Kent.
Hi, Wendel. It's a privilege to be here and take part in your recognition, and it's been a real pleasure to be associated with you in business and as a friend. I remember at Rotary one time you were giving us a little talk about how you were going to pave one of the runways out at the airport and laid it all out and how it was going to get done in 48 hours. And I jumped up and I said, if you can do that in 48 hours, why does it take you 2 years to resurface Fruitville Road? So we had a lot of fun like that and different things, and just it's been a very good experience, and appreciate all the good things you've done around town, and many projects. You've done quite a few for me, and it's been always very successful.
In all the time that I have known Wendel, he's been involved in civic and charitable affairs, giving of his work, his knowledge and abilities, and his contributions. Some of the things he has done will astound you. He does not seek the limelight at all. In fact, he downright avoids it like the plague. Wendel, for example, he had a tragic death in one of his companies. Certainly everybody was there doing everything they could for the family, but unbeknownst to me at the time, Wendel paid for the college education for the 2 children of the deceased employee, and I didn't learn of it until quite later. There are not many employers that will do things like that, but then again, you've got to remember Wendel's from the old school.
Head them out, write them in, let them out. Cut them out, write them in, rawhide.
Well, Wendel, congratulations on your award. If there's anybody in town that deserves it, you certainly do. And for your contributions that you've made to Sarasota has just been wonderful. And the contributions that you've made that most people don't know about and will probably never know about are a lot more important than the ones that you've made and people know about. And I particularly am appreciative of you making all those contributions, particularly on our education project. The gift you made to that was certainly the kickoff on that, and not many people in town know about it. I remember most about you is your coolness under pressure when we were in business, and also when we were flying around through storms, and particularly when we got over the Avon Park bombing range in a big storm on radar, and they told us to get the hell out of there. And I was nervous and scared and said so. Charlie, I think he was a little nervous and scared, and you told us you were going to take a nap, and you promptly laid down and took a nap for about a half an hour. So that is coolness under fire. I couldn't have done that at all. And your coolness also in making business decisions, from my perspective, was quite impressive.
When the stars make you drool, just like pasta vazul, that's amore.
I was very pleased to be asked to make some comments about Wendel, because I've known him for a long time. And I was one of the early founders of Argus, so Argus has always been very close to me. And in fact, Wendel was the first president. With Wendel, what you see is what you get. There's no hidden agendas. He tells it like it is, and he means what he says and says what he means. You've heard the old expression that his word is his bond, they say about some people. Well, that definitely applies to Wendel Kent. When Wendel says something to somebody or makes an agreement, a verbal agreement, he fulfills it.
For he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, for he's a jolly good fellow, which nobody can deny.
I had a mentor, and his name was Wendel Kent. And it was probably the finest thing that ever happened in my whole life is meeting Wendel and learning the road building business from him. When he walked into the office one day a year later in early fall of 1968, and said, "Guess what? I'm going to Switzerland for a year, and I'm taking my entire family, and you get to run the company." And I said, "Gulp! You gotta be kidding." Well, he left town just like promised, and the first thing that happened was that the general superintendent and the chief estimator, Harry Dryman and Bob Smallwood, in that order respectively, marched into my office one day and said, "We don't like working for you. We quit." And so about 20 minutes after that happened, I was panicky, and I got Wendel on the phone in Switzerland. And I said, "Guess what?" I said, "We got a problem." And he said, "No, you've got a problem." And to make a long story short, that was one of the greatest challenges I ever had. And I was pretty much wet behind the ears in the highway construction business at that time. I had a lot of knowledge of engineering and things like that, but having that knowledge and running a construction company are two different things. And a lot of what you need to know to run a construction business, you don't get from books, but I certainly got it from Wendel, and he was a wonderful mentor. And I learned a lot of things about integrity and honesty and doing quality work at fair prices and things like that. And that was really his trademark, and it was one of the happiest coincidences that ever happened to me, and to have been mentored by Wendel Kent.
When I came to town in 1979, I had to look around, and I was lucky enough to find people like Wendel and Charlie and George Dietz and some others who were mentors to me in a way that was really helpful in developing my career. And it was also gave me an opportunity to look and see that just in my early 30s, hustling for business was just part of it, and the other part was doing something for the community. And I've been lucky enough to be able to be active civically, and I give a lot of credit to people like Wendel for having steered me in that direction by the example that they've given to the community. You know, and again, working on this program, I've sort of become the local recipient of the Wendel Kent history, and even going back and learning about his dad starting the General Paving Company in Champaign, Illinois, where Wendel was born and raised, and after he got out of engineering school in Cornell, coming down to Sarasota and married his, as I understand it, high school sweetheart Evelyn, and raised his family here, and everybody's grown up and has family of their own, and I know Wendell's very proud of that. Wendell, it's been great watching you take your ride, and I'm glad I was able to learn from somebody as strong as you. Thanks so much.
Happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, keep smiling until then. Who cares about the clouds when we're together? Just sing a song and bring the sunny weather. Happy trails to you until we meet again. I told you I couldn't.